Kenneth Ray Rodgers, born the 21st of August 1938, is an American singer, songwriter, actor, record producer, and entrepreneur. He is a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame. Though he has been most successful with country audiences, Rodgers has charted more than 120 hit singles across various music genres, topped the country and pop album charts for more than 200 individual weeks in the United States alone, and has sold over 100 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling music artists of all time. On the 25th of September, 2015, Rodgers announced on NBC's Today Show that he was retiring from show business after a final tour to spend more time with his wife and twin boys. Two of his albums, The Gambler and Kenny, are featured in the About.com poll of the 200 most influential country albums ever. He was voted the favorite singer of all time in a 1986 joint poll by readers of both USA Today and People. He has received numerous awards such as the AMAs, Grammys, ACMs and CMAs, as well as a Lifetime Achievement Award for a career spanning 6 decades in 2003. Later success includes the 2006 album release, Water and Bridges, an across-the-board hit, that hit the top 5 in the Billboard Country Album Sales charts, also charting in the top 15 of the Billboard 200. The first single from the album, I Can't Unlove You, was also a sizable chart hit. Remaining a popular entertainer around the world, the following year he completed a tour of the United Kingdom and Ireland, telling BBC Radio 2 DJ Steve Wright his favorite hit was The Gambler. He has also acted in a variety of movies and television shows, most notably the title roles in Kenny Rodgers as The Gambler and the Mac Shane series, as well as his appearance on The Muppet Show. He is also a co-founder of the restaurant chain Kenny Rodgers Roasters in collaboration with former Kentucky Fried Chicken CEO John Brown Jr. Personal life. Rodgers was born the fourth of 8 children on the 21st of August 1938, in Houston, Texas. His parents were Lucille Lois, a nurse's assistant, and Edward Floyd Rodgers, a carpenter. Rodgers is of Irish and Native American ancestry. At his estate in Colbert, Georgia, Rodgers keeps a pet goat named Smitty, having originally acquired the animal from a friend in 2008. According to Rodgers, the goat has been his center, providing a calming influence after long and stressful touring schedules. Marriages. Kenny Rodgers has been married 5 times, and he is presently married to Wanda Miller since 1997. Together they have 2 children. He has 5 children in total. Early career. In a recording career dating back to the 1950s, Rodgers moved from teenage rock and roll through psychedelic rock to become a country pop crossover artist of the 1970s and 1980s. He had a minor solo hit in 1957 called That Crazy Feeling. After sales slowed down, Rodgers joined a jazz group called the Bobby Doyle Three, who got a lot of work in clubs thanks to a reasonable fan following. The group recorded for Columbia Records. They disbanded in 1965, and a 1966 jazzy rock single Rodgers recorded for Mercury Records, called Here's That Rainy Day, failed. Rodgers also worked as a producer, writer and session musician for other performers, including country artists Mickey Gilley and Eddie Arnold. In 1966 he joined the New Christy Minstrels as a singer and double bass player. Feeling that the Minstrels were not offering the success they wanted, Rodgers and fellow members Mike Settle, Terry Williams, and Thelma Camacho left the group. They formed the First Edition in 1967, later renamed Kenny Rodgers and the First Edition. They were later joined by Ken Vassie. They chalked up a string of hits on both the pop and country charts, including Just Dropped In, But You Know I Love You, Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town, Tell It All, Brother, Reuben James, and Something's Burning. When the First Edition disbanded in 1976, Rodgers launched his solo career. He soon developed a more middle-of-the-road sound that sold to both pop and country audiences. He has charted more than 60 top 40 hit singles, including 2 number 1s, Lady and Islands in the Stream. His music has also been featured in top-selling movie soundtracks, such as Convoy, Urban Cowboy, and The Big Lebowski. Solo career. After leaving the first edition in 1976, after almost a decade with the group, Rodgers signed a solo deal with United Artists. Producer Larry Butler and Rodgers began a partnership that would last 4 years. Rodgers' first outing for his new label was Love Lifted Me. The album charted and 2 singles, Love Lifted Me and While the Feeling's Good, were minor hits. The song Runaway Girl was featured in the motion picture Trackdown. Later in 1976, Rodgers issued his second album, the self-titled Kenny Rodgers, whose first single, Laura, What's He Got That I Ain't Got, was another solo hit. The single Lucille, 1977, was a major hit, reaching number 1 on the pop charts in 12 countries, selling over 5 million copies, and firmly establishing Rodgers' post-first edition career. On the strength of Lucille, the album Kenny Rodgers reached number 1 in the Billboard Country Album Chart. More success was to follow, including the multi-platinum selling album The Gambler and another international number 1 single, Coward of the County, taken from the equally successful album, Kenny. In 1980, the Rodgers-Butler partnership came to an end, though they would occasionally reunite, in 1987 on the album I Prefer the Moonlight and again in 1993 on the album If Only My Heart Had a Voice. In the late 1970s Rodgers teamed up with close friend and country music legend Dottie West for a series of albums and duets. Together the duo won 2 gold records, one of which later went platinum, 2 CMA awards, an ACM nomination, 2 Grammy nominations and 1 Music City News Award for their 2 hit albums Every Time Two Fools Collide and Classics, selling out stadiums and arenas while on tour for several years, as well as appearing on several network television specials which showcased them. Their hits together Every Time Two Fools Collide, Anyone Who Isn't Me Tonight, What Are We Doing in Love, All I Ever Need Is You, Until I Can Make It on My Own all became country standards. Of West, Rodgers stated in a 1995 TNN interview, "She, more than anybody else I ever worked with, sang with such emotion that you actually believed what she sang. A lot of people sing words, Dottie West sang emotions." In a 1978 press release for their album Every Time Two Fools Collide, Rodgers credited West with further establishing and cementing his career with country music audiences. In the same release, West credited him with taking her career to new audiences. Rodgers was with West only hours before she died at age 58 after sustaining injuries in a 1991 car accident, as discussed in his 2012 biography Luck or Something Like It. In 1995 he starred as himself, alongside Michelle Lee as West, in the CBS biographical film Big Dreams and Broken Hearts, The Dottie West Story. In 1980, a selection he recorded as a duet with Kim Carnes, Don't Fall in Love with a Dreamer, became a major hit. Earlier that year, he sang a duet of You and Me with Linda Carter in her television music special Linda Carter Special. Rodgers originally recorded this with Dottie West for the Every Time Two Fools Collide album. Later in 1980 came his partnership with Lionel Richie, who wrote and produced Rodgers' number 1 hit Lady. Richie went on to produce Rodgers' 1981 album Share Your Love, a chart topper and commercial favorite featuring hits such as I Don't Need You, Through the Years, and Share Your Love with Me. His first Christmas album was also released that same year. In 1982, Rodgers released the album Love Will Turn You Around. The album's title track reached number 13 on the Billboard Hit 100 and topped the country and AC charts. It was the theme song of Rodgers' 1982 film Six Pack. Shortly afterwards, he started working with producer David Foster in 1983, recording the smash top 10 hit Bob Seger cover We've Got Tonight, a duet with Sheena Easton. Also a number 1 single on the country charts in the United States, it reached the top 30 on the British charts. In 1981, Rodgers bought the old ABC Dunhill building and built one of the most popular and state-of-the-art recording studios in Los Angeles. The song We Are the World was recorded there. Rodgers went on to work with Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees, who produced his 1983 hit album Eyes That See in the Dark, featuring the title track and yet another #1 hit Islands in the Stream, a duet with Dolly Parton. Gibb, along with his brothers, Robin and Maurice, originally wrote the song for Marvin Gaye in an R&B style, only later to change it for the Kenny Rodgers album. The partnership with Gibb only lasted one album, which was not surprising considering that Rodgers' original intention was to work with Gibb on only one song. Gibb insisted on doing the entire album together. Islands in the Stream, Rodgers' duet with Dolly Parton, was the first single to be released from Eyes That See in the Dark in the United States, and it quickly went to #1 in the Billboard Hot 100. It would prove to be the last country single to reach #1 on that chart until Amazed by Lone Star did so in 2000, as well as topping Billboard's country and adult contemporary singles charts. It was certified platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America for shipping 2 million copies in the United States. Rodgers would reunite with Parton in 1984 for a holiday album, Once Upon a Christmas and TV special Kenny and Dolly, A Christmas to Remember, which resulted in a popular video of Christmas Without You, as well as a 1985 duet Real Love, which also topped the US country singles chart. The two would continue to collaborate on occasional projects through subsequent years, including a 2013 duet single You Can't Make Old Friends. Despite the success of Islands in the Stream, however, RCA Records insisted on releasing Eyes' title track as the first UK single, and the song stalled at a disappointing number 61 there, although it did stay in the top 100 for several weeks. When it was eventually released in the United States, it was more successful, charting high on the adult contemporary chart and making the country top 30. Islands in the Stream was issued as a follow-up single in Britain and sold well, making #7. The album itself reached #1 on the country charts on both sides of the Atlantic and enjoyed multi-million sales. Buried Treasure, This Woman and Evening Star Midsummer Nights were also all successful singles from the album. Shortly after came the album What About Me, a hit whose title track, a trio performance with James Ingram and Kim Carnes, was nominated for a Grammy Award. The single Crazy, not to be confused with the Willie Nelson penned Patsy Cline hit, topped the country charts. David Foster was to work again with Rodgers in his 1985 album The Heart of the Matter, although this time Foster was playing backing music rather than producing, a role given to George Martin. This album was another success, going to #1, with the title track making to the top 10 category in the singles charts. The next few years saw Rodgers scoring several top country hits on a regular basis, including 20 Years Ago, Morning Desire, Tomb of the Unknown Love, among others. On the 28th of January 1985, Rodgers was one of the 45 artists who recorded the worldwide charity song We Are the World to support hunger victims in Africa. The following year he played at Giants Stadium. In 1988, Rodgers won a Grammy Award for Best Country Collaboration with vocals with Ronnie Milsap, Make No Mistake, She's Mine. In the 1990s Rodgers continued to chart with singles such as The Factory and Crazy in Love, another selection that Kim Carnes provided him with, If You Want to Find Love, and The Greatest. His second Christmas album, titled Christmas in America, was released in 1989 for Reprise Records. From 1991-94, Rodgers hosted The Real West on A&E, and on the History Channel since 1995. Reruns only on the History Channel. He visited Miller's during this time period. From 1992-95, Rodgers co-owned and headlined Branson, Missouri's 4,000-seat Grand Palace Theater. In 1994, Rodgers released his dream album titled Timepiece on Atlantic Records. It consisted of 1930s-1940s jazz standards, the type of music he had performed in his early days with the Bobby Doyle Three in Houston. In 1996, Rodgers released an album Vote for Love where the public requested their favorite love songs and Rodgers performed the songs. Several of his own hits were in the final version. The album was the first for the TV shopping channel QVC's record label, On Q Music. The album, sold exclusively by QVC, was a huge success and was later issued in stores under a variety of different titles. It reached number 1 in the UK country charts under the title Love Songs, a title also used for various compilations, and also crossed over into the mainstream charts. In 1999, Rodgers scored with the single The Greatest, a song about life from a child's point of view, looked at through a baseball game. The song reached the top 40 of Billboard's country singles chart and was a country music television number 1 video. It was on Rodgers' album She Rides Wild Horses the following year, itself a top 10 success. In 1999, Rodgers also produced a song, We've Got It All, specifically for the series finale of the ABC show Home Improvement. Not found on any album, the recording sells for a high sum at auction. After the 1990s. In the 21st century, Rodgers was back at number 1 for the first time in more than a decade with the 2000 single Buy Me a Rose. In doing so, he broke a 26-year-old record held by Hank Snow, who, in April 1974, was aged 59 when he scored with Hello Love. Rodgers held the record until 2003, when then 70-year-old Willie Nelson became the oldest artist to have a number 1 on the country charts with his duet with Toby Keith, Beer for My Horses. Although Rodgers did not record new albums for a couple of years, he continued to have success in many countries with more greatest hits packages. In 2004, 42 Ultimate Hits, which was the first hits collection to span his days with the first edition to the present, reached number 6 on the American country charts and went gold. It also featured 2 new songs, My World Is Over with Whitney Duncan and We Are the Same. My World Is Over was released as a single and was a minor hit. In 2005, The Very Best of Kenny Rodgers, a double album, sold well in Europe. It was the first new solo Kenny Rodgers hits album to reach the United Kingdom for over a decade, despite many compilations there that were not true hits packages. Rodgers also signed with Capitol Records and had more success with the TV advertised release 21 number 1s in January 2006. Although this CD did contain 21 chart toppers as the title claims, recorded between 1976 and the present day, this was not a complete collection of Rodgers' number 1 singles, omitting such singles as Crazy in Love and What About Me. Capitol followed 21 number 1s with Rodgers' new studio album, Water and Bridges, in March 2006 on the Capitol Nashville Records label. The first single from the album was I Can't Unlove You, which peaked at number 17 on the country charts, after spending over 6 months on the hit list, more than 50 years after he formed his first group and 38 years after his first major hit as leader of the first edition. The song remains in recurrent airplay on some radio stations today. I Can't Unlove You was followed up with the second single from the album, The Last 10 Years, Superman, in September 2006. The third single, Calling Me, which features Don Henley, became popular in early 2007, and was nominated for a Grammy Award at the 2007 Grammy Awards. Also in 2007, the 1977 Kenny Rodgers album was reissued as a double CD, also featuring the 1979 Kenny album, and this once again put Rodgers' name into the sales charts worldwide. The following year, another compilation album, A Love Song Collection, also charted. Rodgers has recorded 65 albums and sold over 165 million records. On the 26th of August, 2008, Rodgers released 50 Years exclusively at Cracker Barrel stores. The album includes some of Rodgers' greatest hits, plus 3 new songs. The release is designed to celebrate Rodgers' 50th year in the music business. In 2007, the England national rugby union team adopted Rodgers' song The Gambler as their unofficial 2007 Rugby World Cup anthem, after hearing prop Matt Stevens playing it in the team hotel. Before the semi-final against France and the final against South Africa, Rodgers sent video messages of support to the team in light of them choosing his song. He offered to come to England and party with the team if they won the World Cup. In 2008, Rodgers toured with his Christmas show. He split the show up, making the first half his best of and the second half his Christmas songs. In 2009, he toured the United Kingdom. In 2009, Rodgers embarked on his 50th anniversary tour. The tour went around the United States, Britain and Ireland. On the 10th of April, 2010, a TV special was taped, Kenny Rodgers, the First 50 Years. Dolly Parton and Lionel Richie were among those set to perform with Rodgers during a show celebrating his contribution to country, blues and pop music. It took place at the MGM Grand in Foxwoods. This special debuted on the 8th of March 2011 on Great American Country. On the 10th of June 2012, Rodgers appeared on stage with the musical group Fish to perform his hit song The Gambler at the Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival. Also in 2012, Rodgers re-recorded the hit song Lady, a duet with its songwriter Lionel Richie, on Richie's album Tuskegee. The pair also performed the song live at the 2012 ACM concert, Lionel Richie and Friends. On the 10th of April, 2013, the CMA announced that Rodgers would be a 2013 inductee into the Country Music Hall of Fame, along with Cowboy Jack Clement and Bobby Bare. In June 2013 he performed at the Glastonbury Festival in the Sunday Afternoon Legends slot. In 2013, Rodgers recorded a new album with the name You Can't Make Old Friends. This album included the title track, a new duet with Dolly Parton, which was his first single released in 6 years. Retirement. In 2015, Rodgers announced his farewell tour, titled The Gambler's Last Deal. He stated his intention to retire from touring at its completion, although he is considering the possibility of recording another studio album. In announcing the tour, Rodgers indicated at the time that his final tour appearance would be on NBC's Today Show. Concert dates were scheduled through 2018 and included visits to the United States, Australia, Scotland, Ireland, England, the Netherlands and Switzerland. On the 5th of April, 2018, it was announced that Rodgers cancelled his remaining tour as advised by doctors due to a series of health challenges. Rodgers' final concert in Nashville took place on the 25th of October, 2017 at the Bridgestone Arena, where he was joined by an array of guest artists including Linda Davis, Elle King, Little Big Town, Lionel Richie, Billy Currington, Lee Greenwood, The Flaming Lips, The Oak Ridge Boys, Justin Moore, Travis Tritt, The Judds, Chris Christopherson, Alison Krauss, Chris Stapleton, Lady Antebellum, Idina Menzel, Crystal Gale, Reba McEntire and Jamie Johnson. The concert also included a special appearance by longtime friend Dolly Parton, who performed You Can't Make Old Friends and Islands in the stream with Rodgers for the final time. His most successful final show was in Toledo, Ohio at the Huntington Center to a sold-out audience. Rodgers is a legend and is loved by millions of fans worldwide.